G'day, welcome to This Is Riffin'. Today we're going to look at Mexicola by Queens of the Stone Age. This would definitely have to be one of my favourites by Queens. It's a fairly straightforward one with a few fiddly bits thrown in there. There's a couple of guitar tracks going on this one at the same time, which is a common theme with a lot of Josh's songs. So as always, just note this isn't going to be 100% correct, but it's as close as I can get to the real thing. And I've used a fair bit of the live footage as well, just to look at finger placements and overall capture what I think Josh is doing for the majority of the song. I couldn't help myself, but the intro to this song's just too damn good to pass up playing, so I thought I'd throw in the bass line as well, just for good measure. So to play this song, you'll have to tune your guitar to C standard tuning, which goes like this. C, F, A sharp, D sharp, G, and C. But I'll probably refer to each strings as in standard tuning, so E, A, D, G, B, and E. I couldn't help myself. I had to chuck in the bass line for this one just because it's so sick and it's fun to play, especially if you're just playing this by yourself at home. Really cool to just jam around with. I checked out a lot of footage of the early days with Nick playing this and even the later days with Mikey as well. And it appears like this is actually where they are playing it with the frets. There's also one of the real early versions of this song floating about with an extended intro too, which sounds really sweet. So that's definitely worth checking out as well. So it just starts by doing a slide, and I like to do one at fret 3. 5 sounds cool as well. Nick on the early stuff appears to do around fret 1, so you can't go wrong either way around there. And after the slide, you're going to do a bunch of opens. So there's 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 is how I like to count it in my head. Then a fret 6 on the A string, and then there's going to be 15 opens on the top string. And then another 6 on the A. I'll just play along with the song for that bit there because you don't want to be counting out 15 zeros in your head. You'll just get lost a bit probably, or you may not. And then you do the fret 6 on the A, and then 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by another slide, which I do around fret 3. But yeah, just as long as you get the slide sound in. And then it's 2 zeros on top, 7 on the A, open on top, 6 on the A, open, open, 7 on A, open on top, 6. And then you get this cool little part, 0, 0 on top, 4, 6. And I like to use my first finger there for both of them, because you're then going to go to 8 on the D and then a 6 on the A, which is like a power chord. So 8, 6. So yeah, using those fingers helps a bit more with that movement. Then 0, 0 on top, 7 on the A, 0 on top, 6 on the A, 4 zeros on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 on the A, open, open, and then to finish it off, you're going to go 6, 8, 9 on the D. And I think I was playing that with my first, second, third, and then you go down to 8 on the G. So I'll just play it a little bit slower for you from start to finish. have seen some dudes do that tail end up here, so rather than going to 8 on the G, they just sort of climb up to 13 on the D. That works cool. I'm just going by what looks like Nick and Mikey are doing with the live stuff, but either way, it's still the same note. This riff here uses a lot of power chords, and it's got that cool bend as well going on. And then there's a lot of opens as well on top. And Josh likes to use his first, third, and fourth finger for power chords. I was actually just using my pinky because that's more comfortable for me. So yeah, use whatever works best for you there. And so it's going to start on open on the top, and then 7 on the A string as a power chord. So 7, 9, and 9. And then after the 7, you're going to do 1 open, and then a 6 as a power chord on the A string. So yeah, I might mix between using my pinky or these fingers as I go along. 2 opens, then a 7 again, open on top, 6, 3 opens on top, and then this move here is a fret 9 on the G and a fret 7 on the B string. And so what you're going to do is you'll plant your finger on fret 7 and don't move that. It's the fret 9 you're going to bend on the G. And so you're sort of trying to aim at bending it so they meet up in a sense. And then Josh sort of brings it back down as well to get that cool bounce off each other. But it happens so quick that you miss those notes anyway. But it's a pretty quick movement, so as long as you try and reach up and then back down, you can't go wrong. And obviously I'll never get that 100% like the Grandmaster himself, but that's the idea of it. And so you do that twice, and then it's the third one where it's the same again, except you're going to do 2 bends. And in the example, I think I only strummed it once and then did it quickly again. But you could definitely strum it twice, just for a bit more impact there. So I'll just do that little third section. 1, 2, 3, 2 of them. Or how I did it was just with the 1 strum. It was just a bit easier for me to do that, especially playing it faster. It's this 4th one here where it actually chucks in a 6, 7, which is cool. So it's open, 7 as a power chord on A, 1 open, and then 6, 7. So that gets thrown in there quite quickly. Then another open, 7 again, and it just finishes off the same. So open, 6, 3 opens, the bends, and there is a slide in there as well. So I slide on the G, just a quick little flick there. But yeah, you don't have to throw that in at all. That's just me trying to replicate what's happening on the album. And then for the last 4 times it gets played, it's pretty much exactly the same, except he mixes it up here and there. So it's either got the 2 bends, or that 6, 7, or the slide. So just follow the tabs along. I'll play it a little bit slower for you, just maybe the first little section of it. something like that. As always, Josh's playing's a lot to do with the feel, and so the next few sections coming up are really sweet because that's exactly what it is. So I'm not going to dive exactly into each timing, otherwise I'll just do your head in. All I can suggest is play along with the song, maybe latch onto the kick drum to help feel the groove, definitely the bass as well, and you can just sort of get a bit sloppy with it, which is really cool. It doesn't have to be ultra tight, if that makes sense. So you're going to start at fret 3 as a power chord on the top string. And these power chords I'm talking about, they just add in an extra octave. So you could get away just doing a normal power chord at 3 and then 5 on the A. But you can just beef it up with that octave there on the D. So that's how I'm pretty sure Josh is actually doing it. So you're going to go 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And again, this isn't spot on. A few more 3s. And then you're going back to that bend at 9 and 7 on the G and B. So yeah, bring that up and down. And then you're going to do an open on top up to 7 as a power chord on the A string. So 7, 9 and 9. And what I love about this part here is you can do the open and then the 7s and sort of interchange between the two, and it doesn't have to be bang on here either. As long as you do the open to get back to the 3 again, that's where it sort of starts to take shape. So I'll just sort of play it slowly from the start again. To the start. So you can throw the open in willy-nilly there and it sounds sweet. It also buys you time to get into position. So once you do that bend, hit the open and it just gives you that little bit of time to get to the 7. Likewise to get back to the 3. So you can do an open, back to the 3 to start it again, which it pretty much does the exact same thing for round 2. I'll put a question mark here because I'm not sure if he's doing 2 bends there, or it might have just been a bit of a bung note on one of the guitar tracks. So yeah, you can do 2 bends or just 1. And then back to the open on top, 7, 9, 9. Power chord. And then in my example, I just did the little tail end to kickstart into the verse, which I'll cover coming up. Has a few little fiddly things going on here and there, and it dances around a lot of power chords at either fret 10 on the A, fret 7 on the A, or a 3 on the top. I just follow my tabs here, and I've tried to do it as best as I can in line with the album. The 2 tracks stuffs me up just a little bit because one does one fiddly thing while the other one does the other fiddly thing. I'll put them in the tab there for you, so you can choose one or the other. So it kicks off with the 10-12 on the top string as a hammer-on. So just strum that once. I like to use my 1st to my 3rd finger there. you're then going to go to 10 on the A, back to 12 on the top string. And if you do it quick enough and sort of fast enough, you don't even have to strum that last 12. And so if you can whip that in there, in the example, I went straight to a power chord at fret 10 on the A. But what you can do is just play the fret 10 on the A first, and then slam on the power chord. So it just buys that little bit of time. So I also did that in the example along the way. So yeah, either slam straight into the power chord or play the 10 just by itself and then let the fingers catch up to play the rest of it. That fret 10 there, again, like the previous bit, it has just a feel to it, sort of. Like something similar to that. So just play along with the album. And then it does a little tail fiddly bit, which is a 12 bend on the A string. So bring it down, back up. 10 on the A, and then a 12 on the E string. So yeah, third finger starting that really helps, because then you can go to your first finger on the 10. And then it does an open on top into the 7 power chord on the A. Chuck in the open there, wherever you want. And then you're going to go back to that little fiddly thing again. 10 is a power chord on the A. And this is cool because Josh, instead of doing the fiddly stuff, he goes to 3 on the top string. Bit more impact here. 2 strums of that. Open on top, and then the 7 on the A. So yeah, I'll just kickstart from that little bit there. 3-3, open on top, 7. Back to the fiddly. 10. 3 again. Open, 7. And it's this part here where there's the 2 fiddly bits going on. So you got either the 10-12 or that bit. If you're just playing this by yourself, it'd be probably cool just doing this bit instead, just to keep your fingers guessing a bit, and it makes it a bit more fun to play. Then you go back to 10 again. 3, open 7, which kicks into the chorus. So for the open and 7 bit, you can chuck in the open wherever you want. I just put it in where I sort of roughly play it, but every live version of it, Josh is always just chucking it in when it feels right to him. So yeah, wherever you put it in, it will sound sweet. The chorus again is just using those same frets as the verse, just in a slightly different order. So it's going to be open, then 3 on the top, power chord, and then there's a slight slide up to 10 on the A string as a power chord. And it's only 2 10s there. So the 3 has that slight feel to it, sort of like... 2 10s, open, and then the 7 is a power chord on the A string. Open, 7. And again, just play what feels right there. Back to open, 3, again, just play what feels right there. Open on top, back to 3, kickstart again. And then to finish it, Josh sort of does these slides in there, which sounds almost like open around fret 5, but just get the slides in there and it will sound cool. So it's an open slide, open slide. I've seen a few different interpretations of this. I'm going to go by what it looks like Josh is doing with the live stuff, but I'm also going to give you some alternatives as well. And again, if you're hitting any of these, you can't go wrong. It still works with the album. But this first one, I think, looks pretty right to what Josh is actually doing. So it'll be 2 opens on top, and then it's a power chord at fret 9, but instead of doing, say, your 3rd or pinky, try and use your 2nd finger instead. So it's 9 on the A, 11, 11. So you're actually barring with your 2nd finger. So it's 9, 11, 11, and then a 14, which is the octave there on the B string. So 9, 11, 11, 14. So you get that cool sounding chord. And then open, open, and then 10 is a power chord on the A. 3 times. That fits in well with the album as well because it's got that lower 9 there, but then also the real high octave too. So I'm going to give you some other examples. Instead of doing that big stretch there, which can be quite tricky, you can get away doing some of these ones. That one there's just an octave, so you're doing 9 on the A and 11 on the G. Another one which could work is 11 on the D and a 14 on the B. Bit tricky, but still sounds cool. Just has that higher end to it. Another one I've seen used a bit is sort of similar to what I think Josh is doing, but instead of having the 9, just scrap that. So it's 11 on the D, 11 on the G, and a 14 on the B, which goes more in line with what he's doing. I just find that one a bit trickier because it's hard trying to cut off the A string there, so you've got to block that by sort of tucking in underneath it. It still sounds cool. But yeah, looking at what Josh is doing, it appears he's doing that 3-finger chord, which is pretty sweet. Could be totally wrong there, so let me know in the comments if you got any other ideas there. And then to finish that section, you do the same thing. But it's just 1 strum of 10. I do an octave here, so 10 and 12 on the G, or 10 on the A, 12 on the G, with a slide. You could do the power chord as well, or with the octave. Just cuts through a bit better there. pretty sloppy with my playing there, but I think you can get away with it with this song, where you can just throw in some strums here and there and miss a few power chords. But that's the overall feel to it with both guitar tracks. I'm not going to dive right into it. It's very similar to the previous verse in that section there. The tail sort of things are still going on. I will look at bar 95. So from there, I was at 10. And so in the example, I quickly went down to 3 as a power chord, which you don't have to do. It sounds like one guitar did that, but you could actually just stay on 10. So from bar 95, I quickly went down there, then back up to the 10. You don't have to do that at all. You could just stay at fret 10. And just finish it off there before going to 7. So that's just something I whipped in. Bar 100, Josh does whip this in. So it's a 10-12, 10-12, so that bit's the same. One strum a 10 as a power chord, then it's a 12 bend on the A. So you can hear that in the album where it's a strum and then that 12 bends. So again, I didn't replicate that perfectly, but that's going on there. And then you'll stay with the 10 with a slide down there to fret 3 on the top string. 2 strums of that, and then back to the open and 7. So that's all relatively the same. Again, the 2 different tracks, I've given you 2 choices there. One does that tail, where the other one does the as well. So yeah, just choose your destiny there. And then it's all pretty much the same from there until you hit the chorus again, and then it goes into this bit. Around the 321 mark, it comes back to that wicked first riff again. And I'm not going to dive right into that. It's just slightly different to it, so that's why I put it in there. Follow the tabs there and you should be all hunky-dory. It just sort of chucks in that 6-7 bit a bit more compared to the first one. Those slides are still going on there, but very similar to that first time. I don't consider myself much of a solo player, so that was my pretty rough attempt there at it. There's a few different versions of this solo where dudes will be playing it up the neck more, so by all means you can move it up there. I kept it more around the higher strings just because the movements felt a bit easier to do, and a lot of Josh's solos tend to be around that area, but yeah, I could be way off there. You'll start by going 14 to 12 as a pull off on the D string, and it's on the 5th one where you'll stop at 14. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I jump to my 2nd finger at fret 12 on the G to slide to 15. And that way you can do 14 on the B with your 1st finger. And the second time around it's exactly the same, except you're going to finish off with the 12 on that 5th one. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the 12. 2nd finger again to there. Then it's a little bend on 14. And then a 12 on the G. So the 14, you're sort of bending it up and then bringing it back down. For this bit here, first finger at fret 12, 15 with your third finger, which lets you get to 14 with your second finger on the D. And then use those same fingers again for 14, 15, 14, 12. Then you'll do a 12 and a slide on the G, up to 14, 17 on the B. And this is where I think Josh is probably doing it, but yeah, please let me know if you got some thoughts there. So 14 on the B, 17 on the B, and I use my first and my second there, with the 15 on the high E with your first finger. 2 more 15s, 17 on the B, and then you're going to wind up with an 18 on the high E. A few little vibratos can't go wrong. And then you get this cool little move, which is 18, 17 on the B, down to 15, 18 on the E. And so, yeah, using your third, second, and first fingers for that makes that movement way easier. And then I'll put a question mark above the 13 because it sounds like a bit of a bung note here Josh might hit. And so what I sort of did was a 13 to 14 as a sort of slide type thing. But it's just whipped in there quickly. And then it's 17, 14, 17, 15 on the G. Something like that. And then on the album, you can hear these slides going on, which makes me think this is where Josh was sort of playing it. So from that 15, you're going to slide up to 18 and then down to 12. Then another 12, 15, 12, 12, 15, then a 14 on the D. 12 on the G, another 12. And then right here again, it's a bit of a bung note or something's getting thrown in there. I just couldn't quite get right, but it's 11 on the D, which seems to work well. So 11, 14, 12, 15 on the G, 14 on the B, and then a 14, 11 as a pull-off. With a slide. And I've got a question mark above the 14 because you've probably guessed it. I can't exactly pinpoint what the hell he's doing there, but you can get away with that as well. So for the last bit there, it probably works best using your first to your third finger as a stretch. So 11, 14, 12, 15, same fingers. Allows you to get to 14 on the B with your second finger. Then I quickly whip to my third to finish it off. The outro, I just gave you a few examples of what I think both tracks are doing. One's doing, again, that sort of cool big stretch of the 9, 11, 11, 14 with your pinky. But if you refer back to the other ideas I gave you there, choose one of them and you can't go wrong. And then it's just the fret 10 that it sounds like Josh is actually slightly bending it. So you can just slightly hear that there. So that's one of the tracks. And then the other one I think is just doing an octave with a sort of bend and then bring it back. So you can either do that or even a power chord. The live stuff, sometimes Josh actually slides to 12, which also sounds really cool. 110 with a slide to finish it off. Bit of a trickier lesson to give in a sense because the song has such a jammy feel to it. Hence why I couldn't really give you a precise amount of times to strum each chord, etc. But as I mentioned, just play along with the song and you should be fine. And if you've got any questions, please leave a comment below and I'll catch you soon. Bye.